Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today our topic is on electromagnets and its applications. We're going to look at how electricity creates what? Magnetism. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I will encourage you to subscribe, hit the notification bell, so that anytime I release a new video, you'll be able to access it. With that said, let's look at what we'll be achieving at the end of today's lesson. Today you will be able to understand what an electromagnet is, how it works, and some of the places that we usually use them in our real life. With that said, get your notebook, pen or pencil, and let's begin. Alright, so what then is an electromagnet? We are saying that an electromagnet is a temporary magnet created by running electric current through a wire coiled around a metal core, usually an iron. So what we are basically establishing is that an electromagnet is making a magnetic material, in this case an iron bar or a metal core, using what? A running electric current through a wire that is coiled around this metal core to make the metal core magnetized. So this is basically what an electromagnet is all about. And one thing you should understand is that it doesn't work when there is a stop in the flow of electric current. This only works when electric current flows continuously. And the moment it stops, the magnetism stops immediately. So this is the setup. In trying to magnetize an iron bar or core using electromagnet mechanism, you have to get a battery which has both terminal, the positive and the negative, with a wire coiled around what? An iron bar. And these regions are where the magnetic influence are felt. Okay? So we are saying that this is the magnetic field, where if any magnetic material is brought closer to this magnetized nail or iron core, it gets attracted to it. So how does it work? Now this is it. You connect a wire to both the positive and what? The negative terminal of the battery. And then in a closed circuit, okay? You need not to open any place. It needs to be closed. And then it coiled around what? An iron nail, which has both the south and what? The north pole. Because we know that a complete magnet has both north and south pole. And when this wire is coiled around this nail, the nail gets magnetized. And these regions are where the influence of that magnetized nail will be felt. So we say this is what? The magnetic field, the region where the forces of the magnet, after being magnetized, where it is usually felt. Alright, so these are the steps you need to understand. That the battery provides the push or the energy needed for the electric current to flow through the wire. Now after it flows through the wire, the coil then creates a magnetic field. And the iron nail strengthens this field and becomes what? Magnetized. And anytime you bring close any magnetic material, it gets attracted to the magnetized iron nail. I hope that is clear. Alright, so here are some of the live applications, places where we usually use this electromagnet mechanism in working in our daily life. The first place is where the scrap cranes. So in this place, there is a huge electromagnet lift. So what has happened is that it does lift heavy scrap metals and cars at junkyards. These mechanisms or scrap cranes, they usually use electromagnets to help carry these heavy scrap metals. And then we usually use it in our homes, on our doorbells. So electromagnet hits the chime to make the ringing sound. So anytime you press on it, you realize that the electromagnet mechanism is used to hit the chime of the doorbell to make the ringing word sound, for us to understand there's someone behind the door. And then we normally use speakers, okay? These speakers usually applies through electromagnet mechanism. So what happens is that the electromagnet vibrates to create the sounds you hear from the music. So these are some of the real life applications where electromagnet is applicable. The scrap cranes, the doorbells, and even in our speakers. Those on phones, on our loudspeakers, on our televisions, they all apply using the electromagnet mechanism. All right. So you can try that yourself to make an electromagnet in a home. The first thing to do is to get what? An insulated copper wire, get an iron nail, and then get a battery which has both terminals, positive and negative. So what you're going to do first is to wrap insulated copper tightly around an iron nail. So you wrap what? Insulated copper wire tightly around what? An iron nail. And then you connect the loose ends of the wire to a battery, as you can see in the diagram here. You connect what? The loose end of a wire to the battery, both positive and what? The negative terminal. So what happens is that you now try to pick up some small paper clips with the nail, and then you understand that it will get what? Attracted to it. So this is how the setup is going to look after you have completed setting them up. So you can try this in the home, and then you will see how electromagnet works, and you will appreciate that. You can drop that in the comment, the result of what you did, and how happy you are doing this or practicing this. All right. So let's assess our knowledge after this lesson to see whether we truly understand what we just did or studied. Now, true or false? An electromagnet stays magnetic even after you disconnect the battery. Probably you will say that is false, because an electromagnet is temporary. It only works when what? Electric current is flowing. So when you disconnect it, the magnetism stops immediately. All right. So quiz time to assess our knowledge deeper. So what makes an electromagnet work? Yes, you are right. You might say it works when electric current flow through a wire, and the moment it stops working. So the next question is, how do we turn an electromagnet off? Yes, you are correct. By stopping the electric current. Because when you stop the current, the electromagnet also stops immediately, no delay. And the last question, why is an iron nail used? Yes, you are right. Because it strengthens the magnetic field. And that is what will make it get its influence, or it works effectively. All right. I believe that we have learned great things today. We have learned electromagnets, and then we have established the fact that it uses electricity to create what? Magnetic material to be magnetized. And then we also talk about how temporal it is, that the moment you switch on, then it becomes magnetized. But the moment you switch off, the magnetic force goes off, because there is no current to create the magnetic force within. And then we also established that some of the things that we normally see around us, the doorbells, the power cranes, which carries heavy metals, and then our normal speakers that we use in the homes, in our phones, they all use or operate using electromagnets. And I encourage you to do one in the home to be a master when it comes to electromagnet and its applications. In our next lesson, we'll be exploring motors generators, and compasses. I hope you have been blessed. I hope you learn new things today, and I will encourage you to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like and share with others so that they will also be blessed. Thank you so much for joining me, and then see you in our next lesson. Bye-bye.